Okay, welcome to Have You Met? Me and Rhea cooked up this interview series to talk to friends, and for me, it helps me get to know people. I know Wonder Meg. I think people know Wonder Meg from Justice Con and the Zack Snyder community and what you've done there. So we're probably going to get like a little update on what you've been doing too for some of your social media. I think most people on social media that follow you closely know what you've been up to, but what you're working on now, um, some of your history of how you got into like nerd culture, and definitely talk about some VHS tapes because we have that in common. I've gone hard into collecting tapes. I only really, if I watch, I love physical media. I tried to embrace digital for a while,
Mm,
but it's just not the same. And then now the main thing I collect is VHS tapes,
yeah,
or the main thing I even watch movies on is VHS tapes. If I have
yeah,
some free time, I used to collect steel books and Blu-rays, and then man, that really got me in the sun debt.
yeah. They're once those pre-orders actually go through, it's like, oh shit.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Nerd Cosa Nostra. Oh, you're VHS too, Nerd Cosa.
Hell yeah.
I should have got you. Now, uh, maybe just a small update on what you're doing now for people that may know you from the release of the Snyder Cut days and Justice Con. What are you up to now? How do you still, or how are you still active in nerd culture? I hear, and because I follow you on X, that you write some articles
Yeah.
on nerd culture, and you get the privilege of getting to go to some of these events early to
Hmm.
give some social, at least the social media reaction. So
Yeah.
if you want to tell people the update of what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm basically the same as I was back then. I'm still still collect action figures and toys and movies and all that. But yeah, I have my own website, wonderwatchlist.com,
I didn't
where
know
I
that.
yeah,
Okay, I'll
there.
check it out. Your own
uh
website. Okay.
yeah, so that's where I post like all my reviews and whatnot. But yeah, it's been a pretty wild last few years, just really trying to hone my capabilities of writing and focus on that, and just watching movies. But I mean, yeah, still the same person I was, still love Zach's work. So you know that was cool. I actually did get to see Rebel Moon Part 1 in theaters, which was a cool experience when they
Oh, that's great.
yeah, they did like some fan screenings around
Mhm.
the globe, and luckily Michigan got one, which was a lot of fun. They did like giveaways and stuff in the theater. That was cool. But yeah, just same old stuff.
Maybe let's talk about, because I'm very, if you love VHS tapes, you're nostalgic for your, probably for your childhood.
Yeah.
What, like I like to say, I like to ask people that we interview, like, what was your first movie, maybe like physical media that you got? Was it VHS tape the first thing you remember buying? And can you remember what movie it was, or what you cherished when you were a child, or
Yeah.
what got you into it? Or maybe what, I don't know if you're in the video games too, and
I
music
play World of Warcraft like
still.
religiously. Yeah,
Why?
still
No, I'm
because
just kidding.
well, I don't play the new versions. I play the old
The
versions of
classic
yeah,
World of
yeah,
War. You
yeah.
still are holding down World of Warcraft. There's
Yeah, I'm
fewer and
still
fewer
yeah.
people.
I got my physical copy right here.
My wife used to play it all the time, but she's moved on. More
Not
power to
me.
you.
Hell
No,
yeah, not me.
did you like the movie? I
Oh
kind of like
yeah,
the
the movie is like the Warcraft movie. I
I mean,
know it's not
great,
perfect.
but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it's like one of my comfort movies, and I'm still like I just bought the
Are you
steel
start
book for it.
Oh,
So like I'm still constantly buying stuff for the movie.
I
So
have I've had to give up my steelbook collecting because
oh,
I
yeah.
was going to use Zavi.com. I was pre-ordering Best Buy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did the whole thing. I was even gaming. I was doing limited run. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, for
And
me, the way I try to save money is I just like buy stuff secondhand mostly. So like I use like eBay or Macari or actual like thrift stores around me, and that's how I get like all of my movies for the most part. There's like only been a few movies this year that I bought like brand new.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Actually, the only like 4Ks or Blu-rays I got last year were I was really upset to not get the Snyder Cut Steelbook when it first came out, and it was
Mm,
hard to get, and the price was high. And that's
yeah.
when I was trying to get out of debt. So I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then eventually I found a decent price. So I
Yeah.
got the Snyder Cut on Steelbook.
I
And
think I
then
have that movie like I have that movie like 6 times over now because like I buy like a new box set and it comes with it, or like I remember when it first came out, they everyone was kind of worried that that it wasn't going to get a US release because it was
mhm,
only on like UK Amazon. So I bought the UK Amazon one and it was pretty expensive. But then they announced that it was coming to the US, so I bought that version. And then I bought like the Zack Snyder trilogy box set, and then I bought the 4K. So I guess I only have it
okay.
4 times over. But
I
yeah.
have I only I have 2 copies, just the regular and
Yeah.
then the Steelbook because I didn't know if I was ever gonna find the Steelbook at a decent price.
Yeah, I got
Um,
mine at I think I got the Walmart one with like the hands reaching out
mhm,
for like the sword or whatever. I have that one. But it's the steel books for Justice League kind of sucked. Like
yeah,
they weren't that great,
yeah.
but I like the trilogy box set that I got. That one was good.
Well, I apologize. I interrupted your answer. What
It's
do you
okay.
do you remember what movie, like one of your first physical movies that you brought? Because I know those got the most play when I
Yeah.
was but like VH people don't realize how expensive VHS was back in the day. I remember like a
I
Disney
know.
my family was poor, so getting
Me
a
too.
Disney VHS tape was a big deal. It was like 30
Yeah,
bucks
I know.
At like Sam's Club back in the day or
Mhm.
something. And do you remember one of those movies that you got the most play or like really like
Yeah.
I like this? Keep
Yeah,
watching.
for me, it was probably, Disney's Hercules movie, like
I
that
love that. Yeah.
Disney Hercules is, like, my favorite Disney movie of, like, all time, so, probably that one, and we don't have like, my parents, unfortunately, like, spring cleanup, you get rid of old things,
Yes.
and, eventually, we just got rid of all of our VHS tapes and stuff, so, it's been fun, like, collecting them and finding them because there's so many memories attached to VHS, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, for me, it's definitely Hercules or even, like, Forrest Gump. We loved
Forrest
Forrest
Gump.
Gump as a kid.
Yes.
But mostly it's whatever like, we had family movie nights every week. Like, on Fridays, we'd go get, like, cheap Little Caesars pizza and then, like
Oh yeah.
and make the tents in our living room, and
Yeah.
we would all just sit around and watch movies, so that's really what got me into, like, loving movies, you know?
Okay. Cool. Cool. I used my some of my first tapes. Um, Adventures in Babysitting. My
Mhm.
sister, like, I almost started to hate that movie. It's really good. I like it now, but there
Yeah.
was a period of time where we had so few tapes, we would just play that over again. Back to the Future, um,
Oh, yeah.
Princess Bride, things like that. But great, great. Do you have so you're a World of Warcraft player. Is were you did you also adopt video games when you were young? Like with that
Mm,
guy or like 16-bit era or
not really, I didn't play many video games when I was a kid,
okay,
it was mostly, like, I every year for Christmas, I would ask for, like, a Xbox or something, but, like, my
okay.
we couldn't
Well, I'm
really
older.
afford it, yeah.
I, I'm saying I'm a little older than you. I'm
Yeah.
saying 16-bit era, and you're talking about Xbox.
Um
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, like we couldn't really afford to like buy the new systems, whenever
Mhm.
they came out. I did get a Wii when I was in high
Oh, I
school.
love the Wii era.
Yeah, the Wii was so fun.
I still have mine.
Yeah, I played like Call of Duty on that because like you could get a controller that was like a gun and you would put the Wii controller in
Do you
it and it
still
was like you were like shooting people.
do you still have it?
Yeah, it doesn't work though. I had the red one.
Oh, the red one's cool.
Yeah, I think that was like what, a Mario one or
What's it going to
something?
take to get you back in the Wii collecting? Because Wii collecting's very rewarding too. It's as rewarding as VHS tapes. Like,
If I
hey,
had a Wii that worked, I would probably still
oh,
play
that's
it.
so easy. I have an extra one laying around here somewhere.
Okay.
I'll have to bring it.
Yeah, no, if I had one, like, because my boyfriend always is playing his Nintendo Switch, and I'm like, man, this just makes me miss my Wii.
What about, you should probably just get the Wii U, or would you not have that nostalgic
N-
attachment?
I never played the Wii U. I just had the
Oh my
regular
God.
Wii.
The Wii U is so great.
Yeah.
The only thing better about the Wii than the Wii U is the Wii has GameCube support that you could, some of them,
Mm,
so you could play GameCube games too.
yeah.
All right. What about music? Are you all? I also want to, since you're a collector,
Yeah.
and since you really, you're really into the nerd culture. What else? Is there something else that you are interested in? People that maybe even your viewers on, or people that follow you on X or
Mm.
YouTube or wherever else you're at your website might not know that you're also into like music. Do you? I don't know if you talk. I know you collect Funkos before.
Yeah, I
Uh,
still have a ton of them, like way too many.
I
You know?
I had to stop. I
Oh,
sold my
yeah.
collection. That was hard to part, but they take up a lot of space once you get going.
Yeah, like, I'm looking around in my office right now, and I like, the entire wall over here and in front of me, and hi, is, covered in pops.
Hey, Rhea's here. We had nothing to talk about. It's been dead air for 12
Yeah, I
minutes.
know,
Right?
we've
No,
just
no,
been
no.
sitting here.
I don't believe it. Yeah, please continue, and I'll catch up while y'all are in the
Okay.
discussion.
Okay.
But,
But-
music-wise, I used to collect vinyl, but
oh, yes.
vinyl gets expensive and also takes up a lot of space, like, within my, like, my little shelves of collectibles. Like, I used to keep them with my, comics and my books and stuff, but I used to collect vinyl, but I got rid of I didn't get rid of it, I gave it all to my mom, basically. But
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
still have a few, like, I have some movie soundtracks and some of, like, my favorite albums, like, I have Thriller,
ooh,
and,
cool.
I have a few, like, Black Sabbath albums, I think, and, yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm someone that unfortunately, I love a lot of things,
Oh, yeah.
and, I love owning things about my favorite things. Like, for a while, I was really into buying like, anytime I went to a movie, I would buy the popcorn tin for that movie and the cup that came with it. But at one point, I had to stop because I had, like, 25 fucking popcorn tins that I was never gonna use again, you know? But again, I still keep, like, the ones that are, like, special, but I've just been, like, donating most of my
Okay.
surplus or, like, selling it if I think it's worth the hassle of selling, but I
Mm.
mostly just donate it to a few, thrift stores around my area.
Well, that's cool. That gives back to the community. Like, you can imagine being someone that's really on a budget but loves nerd
Yeah.
culture too, and they find that at the store. That's a good feeling too.
Yeah, because when I
I am
was really broke, I
yeah.
used to like, a few years ago, I worked at a comic book store, and it was a lot of fun, but they do not pay you well at all. Like,
Yes.
no. It was definitely a job that I took for, like, the passion of it, and, but that's how I bought, like, a lot of my collectibles is I would just go to thrift stores, and I'm telling you, like, some people donate the craziest stuff. Like, I found someone's basically their entire Marvel Legends collection that was at a thrift store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I bought a few, but I was like, "I
That was
can't be
not an intention.
greedy."
That was not an
I know,
intentional donation. That was someone's girlfriend or mother or something.
but I
I don't
left some
believe
of
it.
them.
Oh,
I left some of them, because, I didn't wanna be greedy. I was like, "Someone else's needs
you're a
some of
better
this
person
too.
than
I'm only
me.
gonna buy 2 of them."
I would have bought all of them.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I was like,
Oh, that's nice.
"No." Yeah.
Well, Rhea, we have some work to do if we meet up with Meg in the future for Tape Hunters. We got to get her maybe back into Wii. Some more cassette tapes, or some. She definitely is going to look for VHS tapes, cassette tapes,
Yeah,
and
I'll go with you guys. That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
No, like Meg has like the most amazing luck at these
I
thrift
do.
stores.
Oh, really?
I'm just like, bro, you literally found these like basically mint condition ass
Yeah, I know.
like figs. I'm just like, what? And like, I know it's not like when I know like people like to stage their little like,
Yeah.
finds and stuff, but I know like that's not you. So yeah.
That's the only thing I fear about tape hunters is like I'm starting to meet up with other collectors. What do you do if you like the same thing and you're with your like
Dude.
collaborator and like I don't know, like if Meg finds a tape that I really want, I'm gonna be kind of like super jealous. Like, oh, you take it, sure.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, I guess I would have to find a way to take a picture, but I have so many VHS. I feel like it's rare that I go into a store and there's a VHS that I actually need,
Oh,
because
I don't
that's how, or like for a movie that I don't
oh,
already
okay,
have,
I see. Yeah.
because I'm telling you, I have too much stuff. Like I moved into this apartment in July of last year and I still have things boxed up because it's like I don't know where to put it, you know. And it
Yeah.
doesn't help, my boyfriend also is a huge collector of stuff. So it's like, we had to like compare our
Uh-oh. Two
compare
collectors together.
yeah, we had to compare our collections and donate the duplicates and stuff. So
See, my
Relationship goals.
yeah.
I don't know if it's a good idea though, Rhea, because no offense, Meg, I'm very happy for you and your boyfriend. But me and my wife, she's the opposite of me, a minimalist, and like she
Oh,
likes gaming and movie stuff too. But she's like, I have it digitally. I
yeah.
actually bought her a cassette tape.
Mhm.
Like she likes pop music, so I got her the new Taylor Swift. I'm like, look, even Taylor Swift. I was trying to get her into the cassette tape thing, and she literally puts up her iPhone and puts it up in there and says, "Look, that's a lot faster than this. Don't buy me any more tapes."
Oh my gosh.
She's like, "Stop it!" And then we already had to talk about what are you gonna do? Are you gonna start cycling out some of these tapes? There's a lot of tapes in the house.
Yeah.
It's for the sentimental value though. Like
Yeah.
for me, like Max, like, has encouraged me to, collect cassette tapes, and he even made me like a mixtape on CD. So even though like, I'm not going to listen to cassette tapes like every day, like, but
Yeah.
looking at it is more just like, that's like, kind of commemorates that moment that I had, with one of my good friends, like in person. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that feels like even more like I treasure it and cherish it more than just me buying them on eBay. So I think that's what it is for me. I don't know if it's the same for y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly I just like the memories attached to stuff, but also like the artwork that they put into like some of the box sets is just like it's just like such a forgotten like art form anymore. I feel like they still release physical media, but I just feel like it doesn't have like the presentation that it used to.
Oh yeah.
And like so there's some box sets that get kind of crazy, but like you could pick up a regular VHS and it's just like the presentation alone is just so
Well, it looks
nostalgic
better on
and
the shelf
great.
too. Like, look at my
Yeah.
background. I'm actually going to replace the Switch games and put
Mhm.
all VHS tapes. They look so the spine, the front of the box
Yeah.
is like most resembling of a movie poster to me.
Mhm.
I've really oh, and we do have a new member, Mo Moon. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member, Mo Moon. I remember you well. I'm glad you support this series. Have you met? And thanks to Rhea and Meg for setting this up. Okay, but yeah,
Yeah, I just noticed that I typoed Meg's X handle,
Oh,
and
it's
like some
okay.
other rando popped up, so I missed the underscore, so I had to correct it. So y'all be sure to follow Meg over on X, and be sure to check out her YouTube channel. We're gonna make some friendly reminders throughout the show too. But Meg has been just a content creating machine, and like we're gonna go over all of her prolific career milestones and things that she's accomplished as, a journalist too. But just getting to know her as a person is also like, a big, thing that we like to do on this show too. So thank you to Max and Meg for kind of getting the ball rolling.
oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. If we do also meet up, you'll have to give us track list of some of your favorite songs, because
Ooh, yeah.
I'm very serious about bringing back the mixtape. We have a Rhea mix already. I'm making one for Bruce. He gave me a list, and I it also helps me get new music and then be on the hunt for new cassette tapes. But any love for no, I tried. I actually have some. I've had such bad luck with 8-tracks. I've given up. I was so happy to find the beat. I love the Beach Boys because that was one of my first cassette tapes, and I got that on 8-track, and they were not working. The players they're very hard to keep going.
Yeah.
So, it's too far. Okay. I was gonna ask why. I know the nostalgia's there, but why do you appreciate VHS now? Because a lot of people are like, oh, the quality's not great. And I tried, I actually had this conversation with Rhea, and we had a different guest years ago, and I was like, I can't do VHS, the quality's too bad. But that's because I remember when I was young and poor, most of our tapes were like hand-me-downs from rental places, and they were beat to hell, and we had a bad VHS player and a TV that only worked half the time. But I think people just have that in their head, but the quality's actually very decent, I think.
Yeah, well, and also it opens you up to movies that you never probably would be able to find otherwise. There's a lot of movies that only released on like VHS or DVD that you're never going to get a better quality of it, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, I mean, whenever I go to a thrift store, I haven't went in a while, but whenever I go to a thrift store, I go through the like huge, well, sometimes it's huge, the section of VHS, and I'll just like pick random ones up and like read the back. And there's so many movies that I have enjoyed just that way. So often we open up like Letterboxd or IMBD and we're searching for a movie to watch, and it's just so much more rewarding because you're not bombarded with like people's reviews of it. Like when you open an app, it's like, oh, this has a 3-star rating or whatever. But when you go to a store and just pick one up and read it, you're basing it off of like your interest level after reading it. So there's no like bias in your brain. But yeah, I've picked up so many movies that way, and I was like, man, this is an awesome movie. I'm glad I picked it up.
I think that's one of the major draws for me too, besides nostalgia, even like looking for used physical media too. It's like what's available, and you're like, oh, I never thought of this. And I end up watching movies that I really love that I would never watch just because it was there. And I'm like, well, maybe I do want to see this.
Yeah.
And looking at menus, I think, first of all, I love streaming. Like, I'm not against streaming or anything, but the amount of time as humans that we spend just scrolling through menus without any attachment to the menus and the options, it's crazy how much time we just spend looking at stuff. You cut that out, and then you have that, wow, I found this. I never would have watched this if I didn't find it. And that it makes it more special. And I agree with that for music, movies, and video games, for sure. Rhea, did you have something, any other or questions you wanted to bring up?
Oh yeah. Again, I apologize for running a bit late, and I just wanted to catch up. Like, did we get a chance to do a proper intro for Meg and kind of give us some background on her footprint in the community and how how we became like familiar with her work?
Yes, I think we went over where she started with the Snyder conventions, and then where she's doing. She even plugged her website for sure. We could revisit that part too, though. What do you enjoy about what you're doing now with the how has that experience been, being consistently going to these early screenings, doing social media? Do you find it rewarding? Maybe can you recommend people that are interested in doing that, how they get into it, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like someone that like I do all of it by myself. Like the website, it's a WordPress website, but like I put that together myself. I edit everything, minus my YouTube videos. And no, it's super rewarding when you can see like a physical manifestation of the work that you've done, like I would suggest anybody that is interested in like archiving your own thoughts and opinions and feelings on movies or video games or anything that you might like, definitely start like just reviewing things. And even if it's not something you're uploading or sharing with the world, it is a lot of fun to look back and see like in a year from now, oh, I liked this movie last year. Let me see what I wrote about it. And revisiting things that you've seen over the last few years is a lot of fun. But I got into it because I just felt like you know, everyone suffers from like anxiety and depression and things like that. And I was finding that I had a lot of anxiety in my life. And I was like, I don't know what to do with like all this extra energy or where to put my anxiety because, you know, I live a relatively stress-free life. So I I was like, I want an outlet for me to focus on, somewhere to put my energy to where I'm not just sitting here being anxious all day about things that don't matter. Um, so I made my website and it's been great. It's been such a great stress reliever and somewhere where I can focus my energy in on, where I'm not just mindlessly scrolling on social media all day, or like you said, Max, just like scrolling on streaming services trying to find something to watch. Um, it's a lot of fun, and even if you know you don't get the biggest amount of views or the most eyes on your stuff or it's not getting shared a lot, it's still so fun and so rewarding. But yeah, I just got into it because I was like, you know, I've been writing for like a few years, but it was always on sites that weren't my own. So
Okay.
it always like the output always felt like it was heavily edited and not quite my voice after it
Okay.
goes through like an editing process. Like I worked with CBR.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I didn't know
yeah,
if you still did or not. So that's the difference there. You like that this is more rewarding to you on your own.
yeah. I mean, CBR, it was great. I don't work there anymore, but it was great. It was a lot of fun. It opens up a lot of opportunities. Um, but at the end of the day, some of my work just didn't feel like it was mine at
Okay.
you know, and having your own place where you're the only one doing it is just so rewarding. You know, it's a lot of work. It is, but I find that at the end of the day, I'm like, oh yeah, I accomplished something. If I get a review out, or if I get, you know, like a new milestone, or like a new screening invite, or whatever, I feel like I actually have something tangible to show that I like working. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I did want to highlight for sure, like, because I'm like really into branding and presentation, and I
Yeah.
just have a big appreciation for folks who put the time into it, even if they're like, you know, not doing it full time. Like,
Yeah.
just like, you know, the consistency and the community engagement as well is a big thing for me too. Like,
Hmm.
you know, keeping up with your, you know, community, even if it's, you know, just through, you know, getting to know you posts and like, you know, like
Hmm.
IRL posts too. Like, I think that's like a big thing for a lot of folks. It's like, you know, not just, you know, pushing your content out, but
Yes.
also like interacting with them on a meaningful way, in a meaningful way too. So yeah, I just wanted to clap you up for that because I
Thank
think
you.
that's like a big deal for me personally is even if like, you know, content is sporadic, like definitely in my case too, but like actually keeping tabs with, you know, your community is a really big deal. I don't think a lot of folks like realize that, but I think you do. So I just wanted to clap you up for
Thank you.
that.
Yeah, you know, the part that I love the most is like just having someone to talk to, you know, like posting something and then starting a conversation and keeping that conversation going. It's not like you just post, "Hey, this is a new video of mine," and then you expect people to watch it and then you don't then engage back with them when they leave a comment or a reply to your tweet or whatever. It just seems like you're only in it for them to watch it and you don't necessarily care about the conversation. But yeah, no, that's always been my thing because I grew up in like a really small town, so I never had like a lot of friends growing up. So once I found like social media, and that there was other people around the world that were interested in like the movies, the same ones as me, or they had the same opinions or even differing opinions. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I need to keep this up because like I don't have a lot of social interaction with like-minded people in my area. So it's great. And I really consider people that I follow online and people that I talk closely with, like they're like my actual friends. So
Yeah.
like having those conversations and being able to do it is great. And I do wish more people did it, because social media anymore, especially when you're like on X or something, there's a lot of negativity that I feel like people focus on, and they're not focusing on, like they'd rather focus on someone like, oh, this movie sucks, it's dog shit, and then they don't pay attention to the people that are like, oh, I actually do like this movie, that they're trying to engage in a positive way.
No, totally. Oh, sorry, Max, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I always liked doing YouTube, but I didn't start loving it until, Rhea is one of my best friends ever. Like I've met some of the best friends I've ever had just because of this experience. And then you don't really appreciate YouTube as much until you meet up the people you've talked with online. It's like something magical. You can't even like, you meet people in real life too, but there's just like someone your shared interests. And then you finally meet up or like go to a convention or something. And that's where I'm like, wow, this is something. And it also changed my path on YouTube too. I used to be a little bit different kind of a content creator, but now it's more about focusing on things I really care about and meeting up with great people. And do you also do conventions and things as well, or?
I went to New York Comic Con in 2022 with CBR, and that was so fun. I met like some people that I've been talking to online a lot. But I went there for work, so it was like it was kind of hard to meet up with a lot of people. But that's like the biggest convention I've ever been to. And then this year I went to the Toronto International Film Festival, which was
cool.
Dude, it was awesome. I was there for a week, and it was like not having to worry about work or anything for an entire week and just watch movies was like the coolest experience of my life.
Cool.
But I met literally not everyone, but like a large amount of people that I talk to daily online. I finally got to meet them and see movies with them, and it was a lot of fun. I think sometimes you just like have to sit back and think like all of these experiences are so cool, but the coolest part is meeting people, I think.
That's what I would say.
I was actually going to ask Meg, as far as like conventions that you would like to attend and maybe even be part of like an interview panel or even like a moderator. I think that's like the biggest thing. Okay, so like if you could moderate any panel, like who would be your dream like like panel or interview person?
Oh man, that's crazy. I've already interviewed Zack Snyder, which he's like one of my favorite directors. So if I'm not gonna pick him, I would love to do a panel with like Ridley Scott, because I just think I love that old man so much. I love him.
Oh, I do too. This recent
love
quote
him.
where he just told Quentin Tarantino, just shut the F up and go make another movie.
I think that would be a lot of fun. But also I'm a huge fan of like Kristen Stewart is like one of my favorite actresses. I would love to do like if they were ever to like revisit Twilight in like the 30-year celebration, being able to moderate that panel. Twilight?
No, just
dude.
I'm not shaming you.
I have all my. I don't know if you can see them. I got all my books down there.
Oh, okay.
But no, I don't know. I think like just actors that I admire a lot, like Kristen Stewart. I love Kristen Stewart, or like Denzel Washington. I just watched Devil in a Blue Dress last night, and I would love to pick his brain. He's like one of the most talented people around. No. Or just I don't know, like a panel of like my friends, and we can just talk about like movies and stuff would be so fun, like a live podcast would be great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He was recently in the news saying that he hasn't had to audition for 40 years.
Yeah,
If
basically
he gets the
since
call, he's just like, yeah, I'll do it. They're just like, okay.
yeah, what he said it was whatever movie he I don't think it was Training Day. I think it was the one before that, but he said like, yeah, basically after that movie I never had to audition, and I was like, wow.
Great choices.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I would love to hear more about your, like, I guess, like, your journalism career. I know you kind of touched on it
Yeah.
a bit on your website, but what really got you into just, the deep dives and I like to call it subjective objectivism, where like you stay on topic basically, and you provide your feedback on a film like very thoroughly and very eloquently, to the point where like it doesn't come off as like vitriolic or shilling or anything like that. It's genuinely like from the heart of a filmmaker. So yeah, or sorry, a film lover. So I just wanted to kind of hear more about how you started out that way.
Yeah, basically what you said is that I feel like a lot of film criticism or film, like the way people talk about film anymore, is very negative, and negative to a point where it seems like there's an agenda sometimes with it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not someone that'll like, if I don't like a movie, I'm not going to go out of my way and spend like 2 hours writing a review for it if I didn't like it. There's things about movies that I like that, you have to critique when you're writing a review, but I just feel like a lot of people view film in such a negative light, and unfortunately they get into like a career of it. And because again, like circling back, like a lot of social media anymore, the only time you get attention is when it's like extremely negative, like rage bait, I think is what people call it. But yeah, so I was just thinking like there has to be a change within like the industry, and like how do you make change is like you just basically just start doing it yourself. And I'm not perfect at all, I have grammar mistakes all the time, thank God for Grammarly. uh and sometimes I'm glad you say that it sounds eloquent, because sometimes when I'm writing it I'm just like, this makes no fucking sense, but here we go. So that I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, it was just because so much of the way people talk about film anymore just seems like, do you even like movies? Like, what do you, or like they write about a
They're more
movie,
a fan of shitting on things than actually the fan of movies. Yeah.
and they bring up the most wild things in a movie review, and I'm just like, this is supposed to be about the movie, but but yeah, that's why I got into it, and I just wanted to kind of gain more knowledge about movies, and like really the only way to do that is to like write about them, because then you get more comfortable with talking about art. And I've expanded my vocabulary quite a bit, I'd say, in the last few months. So
I have 2 questions about reviews there.
yeah.
So is there any, I know it's been a rewarding process for you, but I got to do more movie reviews because I love watching movies. I got to challenge myself to do more reviews. One of my issues is, or like, is there anything that's hard for you as a reviewer? Because my issue is when I'm really looking forward to a movie and it's like really real big letdown. I get depressed and I can't even do the review. And then I wait and delay and procrastinate, and then I probably don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely challenging. The hardest part for me was figuring out how to critique something that I don't necessarily like an aspect of a movie that I didn't like. Like Maxine came out this year, and I was really looking forward to Maxine, and I didn't hate the movie. I just I was let down, but I still wanted to like write about the movie, because I feel like there's a lot of aspects about the movie that are great. Like visually it was really great, the performances were great, but the story was just kind of a letdown. So trying to write like writing a good review like of a movie that you loved is always easy. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost like you might write too much for that. But writing about a movie that you don't necessarily like is extremely hard because
Yes.
sometimes you can feel yourself slipping into that, oh, this is getting too negative. I need to like I need
You want to
to
be
bring something up.
constructive too,
Yeah.
or still give the highlights, but it's just like you are let down.
Yeah, so mostly for me, I just it's that's the hardest part. Not even a movie that I didn't like, but one that was just fine is very hard to write about, at least like structure-wise.
And then the other question I had about reviews is your history of just enjoying movies before you got involved in a review process and getting the screeners
Yeah.
versus now. Do you feel that how much more rewarding is it that do you like movies more now? Do you embrace stuff that you probably wouldn't have done if you were just a consumer and not also involved? Do you
Yeah,
give more things a chance? Other genres that you've found out that you like doing this review process?
yeah, you know, the most annoying part is I feel like I'm very much still a part of like the average like moviegoer, you know, like I'm not a professional when it comes to this stuff. I'm just someone that really loves movies that somehow has gained the ability to do like some cool things. And like it's this weird double-edged sword because I get some of the privileges of uh people that, you know, do this for a living, and then I am still a general audience person. So, I see how, people get treated, like, you get all these invites and you get all this like, I just got my first ever, awards for your consideration,
Oh, cool.
package yesterday from Netflix. And it's cool. It is really cool. But part of me is like, why isn't this available for everybody? Like, why couldn't someone just buy this if they wanted to? So it's like trying to find this balance of the in between because uh you know, I'm not someone that does this for like a job. Like I still have a full-time job that I have to pay my bills with. So um but yeah, getting the screeners, you know, I get movies that I wouldn't regularly, release in my area a lot of the times. Like, I live in Michigan, and so I usually have to drive to Detroit, and it's like a 2-hour drive from where I am. There was one week I had, like, 3 screenings, in the week, so I had to drive there, like, 3 times. But yeah, no, it's great. I've been able to watch some movies in theaters that, you know, I wouldn't be able to, and um yeah, it's just like this weird like in between though, because it sucks that not everybody gets the opportunity to see a movie that they want in theaters or to be able to buy like I got the piano lesson from Netflix, and it was like a physical disc, and I was like, "Well,
Oh,
why can't you just sell these, you
yes.
know?" Um
Well,
so yeah,
good. Hold
no,
on to them.
it yeah, I know. I told him I was like, I know it says destroy after a certain date, but I will
No
not be
one
destroying."
does. No
Yeah,
one
I
does.
know,
I
I know.
hate punning. I found so many for
I know, me
consideration or
too.
screener copies. I'm like, I know
But
you influencers back in the
I
day,
know.
you kept them.
I know I found so many at thrift stores, and I'm like, "Oh, this is cool." Like hopefully one day I can get some of these, you know. And now I do, and I'm like, Why would you ever donate these?" um But yeah, like seeing movie like I had a moment when I went to see Gladiator 2 because I saw it
Ooh, I want to see that.
yeah, I saw it. I don't even remember the day. I think I saw it 2 weeks early, and you know, I was sitting there watching the opening credits come in, and I was just like tearing up because I was like, you know, like it's one of those moments where you have to be proud of yourself for like getting to where you are. And I felt very proud. And also like I was able to share that moment. Like I brought my boyfriend and his friends, and it was a lot of fun. And they were just having like such a great time. And like sometimes you have to like just sit back and think about, oh yeah, like I earned this privilege. But it does suck that not everybody gets it, you know.
I actually did want to ask you. So, is this, kind of film criticism, journalism, like, you know, outlet and career that you are carving out for yourself and that you've established yourself as a professional in, and getting all of this, all these opportunities to cover even more media. Is that something that you're pursuing as a full-time career, or is there another outlet that you would like to reach in, and this is like a stepping stone towards that?
I'm fine with what I'm doing now. I think that it is a lot of fun. I would like to be able to do it full time, like somehow monetize it and be able to focus all of my attention and energy into it. But I don't know, like my entire journey online has been very it's been pretty crazy because it's nothing that I thought would ever happen. Everyone always is like when you're younger, like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I never knew what to say because how do you know? But I feel very secure in what I do now and how I'm doing things. And yeah, I don't know. I just turned 30 this year, so I feel like for my age, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. So that's really all. I mean, I don't know necessarily. Maybe in a few years, ask me if I still want to be a film critic when I grow up, and I'll be like, maybe.
Well,
But
based on what you just said there, like when you're growing up, you weren't sure what you wanted to do.
yeah,
Now that you're doing this, do you think you found it? Do you think, oh, this is what I want to do now?
yeah,
Even if you
definitely, yeah,
that's awesome because
yeah.
not everyone gets that.
Yeah, it's not that having a daytime job is fine, and it has helped me be able to afford to do things and go to these cool conventions and festivals. So I'm fine with working a day job and doing this, but at some point I want to be able to be like, all right, I'm doing this full time. Here's my 2 weeks,
Oh, yeah, that's the question I had when we did this show before, Rhea, that I forgot and I want to bring back.
Yeah.
If you had all the money in the world and you could just do whatever you want, what you would you be doing more of this? What would you be doing each day? Would you be doing
I would
the
just
what?
I would wake up and hang out with my cats for a little bit, probably
Okay,
go to the
cats.
gym for a little bit, and watch movies and talk about movies. I would
So
definitely be
this would be
doing
their dream. You're
yeah.
living a dream already. You just don't have the
I
million.
would
You only don't have the $1 million or whatever. That's not that big
I
a
mean,
deal.
if I sold some of these pops, I might be close to the million, but but yeah, no, I think the only difference is that I would probably do YouTube stuff more often
Okay.
and like live stream more often because I have the time. I would have the time. That's what I was telling my boyfriend last night is I have all of these like ideas. Like in the beginning of the year, I want to like launch a podcast and stuff. Um, but it's like just the time,
Yeah.
because the time is
So that would be the
yeah.
difference is incorporate your journalism, your website, but also the YouTube angle. It's hard to get everything together with
Oh
time
yeah,
constraints.
it's like basically impossible. Like, but some people are able to do it because they focus like all of their like free time outside of their regular job to do it. But unfortunately, the movies take a while to watch. So,
I can only imagine how hectic your schedule would be if you were covering TV shows, for
oh
example.
my god.
Like, let's say you were genuinely like, into the show, like The Penguin, for example. I'm not saying
Hmm.
like, like as an example, like if you
Yeah.
had to cover that, even though it's a limited series or whatever, like that's like really stressful, even like for me to kind of wrap my head around because I
Yeah.
also have a day job and it just seems like, as far as like editing and
Hmm.
presentation and making sure you cover everything that you need to cover in the episode and probably even watching it like multiple times. Have you ever had to like deal with that?
Yeah, when I went to TIFF actually, so I was there for 7 days and I think I saw like 25 or 27 movies in the 7 days. Um, so it was hard to juggle because you have I had a press pass, so you get like 10 free tickets on top of being able to go to all the press events. So like a press screening for a movie, compared to going to the premiere of the movie. So I had to like juggle this schedule that basically started at like 6 in the morning and goes until like 10 o'clock at night or later. And making sure that you get there on time to get in, you watch the actual movie, you jot down a few of your thoughts. Most of the time people do like quick little social reactions, like a little tweet here or there, and then making it to the next screening on time to do the exact same things. After a while it did get kind of hard to like focus on the movie. Like after about like the 5th day I was just kind of like, I'm gonna have to watch this movie again because I have no idea what just happened. But yeah, I mean it's stressful when you have a packed schedule to be able to get things out and get things edited. And like editing is probably the hardest part, especially
That's
with
why
like
I don't do it.
yeah, like with a YouTube video especially is hard because you have to, you're basically just watching the video that you just recorded like numerous times to make sure that you get everything right and you get everything included. Writing is a little bit different because you can just like like it's just typing, you know. But yeah, it is hard to juggle. Like I have my Michigan Critics group. We have 2 screening days coming up in December, and it's basically like a mini film festival. Like it's just 2
Cool.
days packed of watching movies before we do our critic voting for awards. So yeah, I mean it's just a whole day of watching movies and you have to balance that schedule, and you know, you don't get a lot of sleep. Yeah. But it's fun. It is fun.
No, it does sound fun. I think like another fun question I was just thinking of while we were talking about, you know, your aspirations and, you know, what would you do if like you could just, you know, bankroll your career like this. If you could be a part of, or I guess financially back, or just, you know, yeah, just be a part of like the production of like any project you like, what
Oh man.
what would you do? It could be like, you know, a handful of them, but like what are some of your top ideas, just to think about it out loud?
Oh man, I would do so many crazy things. I would probably contact Blizzard and be like, "You guys, we have to do more Warcraft movies. Here's all my money, make it happen." I absolutely love Warcraft and the Warcraft movie and the lore. I have like all of the books. Like these aren't all of my books, but I have like most of the Warcraft books. And it's just like the perfect blend of fantasy and sci-fi, I feel like. And unfortunately the movie didn't do well in the US, but it did do well in overseas. So I would back as many Warcraft projects as I possibly could. I would I don't know. I feel like I would have to like put together like an entire thing of being like, all right, do you want to make like pitch me a movie like what is that, Shark Tank or whatever? And if I liked it, I would be like, okay, here's money, here's money, here's money. But yeah, mostly I just want to revive the fantasy movie genre because I feel like there's not a lot of fantasy movies anymore, and it sucks because fantasy is so fun.
That's one of your favorite genres. So there is the what do you think of the Rings of Power and things like that? Is that okay or?
Yeah. It was just outside of like Lord of the Rings, there's not,
Yeah,
and like House of the Dragon, there's really not a lot of like other fantasy going on. And like David Lowery's The Green Knight was amazing.
I
Not
still didn't see that. I
necessarily
always wanted to
fantasy, but
see that, but I didn't.
yeah.
I haven't seen it
I
yet.
have to watch that too.
Oh,
Actually,
so good.
are you a fan of the Dungeons and Dragons movie? Because
Yes,
like
it's
that's
so good.
you reminded me of it. And
Yeah.
I freaking love that movie. When you mentioned Warcraft, I was just like,
Yeah.
dude, Dungeons and Dragons, like that is, you know, there's too much lore,
I
you know,
know,
in
I
that,
know.
like there's nothing but content for
I
that. And I just
I
wanted to
think
hear
that
your thoughts on that too.
Oh, I was going to add real quick. I think that wasn't that released around like Barbenheimer or something. It was doing okay, and then Barbenheimer hit. It's like no, it's
I
something
think
like
it
that.
came out. It came out. What I think in like 2022, I think, and
Something
it
came
was
out right
still
around it. It was doing good, and then some other movie that was
I think
big
it
came
was
out.
Super Mario, wasn't it?
That's what it
Something,
was.
yeah,
Mario.
yeah, and yeah, I mean it has great reviews. Like everyone that watches that movie loves that movie, and I really hope that they do more and it's just like random campaigns that these people are going on. That would be so fun. But yeah, that movie rocks.
No, totally. And I did drop a message in the chat for folks to give us some
Yeah.
questions for Meg as we come onto the hour mark. And Nerd Cosa Nostra, another person that we had on Have You Met, asks a desert island type question. You can only take 3 films with you for the rest of your days. What are they?
Oh man, I would probably take RoboCop.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's my
RoboCop.
favorite VHS tape. It's just
Yeah,
better on VHS.
yeah. So RoboCop, fudge. The 1946 version of Beauty and the Beast is just like,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, dude, it is like if you want to talk about like movie magic, that movie
Really?
is. Oh yeah, it is amazing. Um, it literally feels like a dream when you're watching it. But yeah, so RoboCop 1946, Beauty and the Beast, and probably have to go with like Excalibur. Like those
Ooh,
3
nice one.
movies. Yeah, those 3. I feel like
Great
it hits like
picks.
all genres, so
No, that's a very eclectic mix for sure.
thank you.
And Nerd Cosa Nostra also asks, which film genre do you believe is overlooked and deserves a bit more attention for the work that is being produced?
Ooh, I would say probably like it's going to be kind of like a niche genre, but like female-led crime thrillers. So like Thelma and Louise, for example, or Love Lies Bleeding that just came out this year. So yeah, just female-led thriller crime drama films. I feel like it's just it. Oftentimes they have the coolest stories. A lot of them revolve like revenge and like overcoming your abusers and stuff, and I think that is such a like a cool genre. Yeah, if you haven't seen Love Lies Bleeding, it just came out this year.
Okay.
It is fucking awesome.
Awesome.
No, that's a really good point that you made about that genre going
Yeah.
unlooked for way too long. And then Nerd Cosa Nostra also asks, superhero fatigue has been a topic the past couple of years. Do you believe there is something called franchise fatigue? For example, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, etc.
I don't necessarily think the franchise fatigue is much of a thing. I mean, it just really depends on which franchise it is. Like anything Lord of the Rings does, I feel like is I love it. So I don't really have franchise fatigue, but if I was to critique, if I was to like say something about Star Wars, it just I feel like there's a certain amount of fatigue that comes with franchises, and Star Wars, unfortunately, is like hitting it very hard right now. At least for me, like I used to love Star Wars when I was younger. Like the prequel trilogy is like what I grew up on, and I still love it. But once it once it came back, I was
You can see it. I got my.
Well, we can't see you,
yeah,
but
we can see your head.
Oh, it's following me. My camera's following me. It's got the episode 1 on the back. It's the same one
Oh,
I got
nice.
you, Ray.
Oh yeah, we're twinsies. Max also got me one. So
Oh, nice.
That's why he had a
Max.
sale. I got yours real cheap.
But yeah, no, I just think that necessarily there's just like a fatigue of I think the DCEU hit the fatigue pretty bad after Justice League came out, and more so just a bad storytelling fatigue maybe is what I would call
Average
it.
movie fatigue.
Yeah, and Star Wars unfortunately for me has just been kind of bland. the last few years, and I think more people just want more from these franchises that they've put like a lot of time into. Um, but it just if you make good movies and you make good products, people will recognize it. I mean, Star Wars is a little different, and even Lord of the Rings, because the fandom around some of them are kind of just a little insane sometimes. But that really comes with anything that gets mainstream. The fandom is going to be pretty nutso. So.
Mm.
No, I hear you. Sometimes I feel like there's a little too much reactionary,
Yeah.
business decisions, kind of pivoting based off of fandom instead of, just following a planned trajectory to,
Yeah.
reach the final destination. But yeah, I hear what you're saying too. But I do want to highlight Mr. Memes of Destruction's question. Meg, do you like turtles?
Hell yeah, I love turtles. I always wanted one
Okay.
as a
What
kid,
are
but
real turtles or Teenage Mutant ones?
both of them. Man, that
Sick.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, the animated one, I
Oh, that's my
love
favorite
it. It
one.
is so
They're
good.
actually teenagers. They act like
Yeah,
teenagers
it is
now.
really cute. Yeah, I love that one.
Mo
That's-
Moon. Oh, I'm sorry. Mo Moon also
Oh,
upgraded his membership already. Thank you, Mo Moon. I appreciate that.
Whoa,
yay!
nice.
Thank you so much, Mo. And yeah, Taladia Plays says, so question for Meg. I know you mentioned you like Twilight. Are you also a Harry Potter fan?
No, not really. My mom loves Harry Potter, so I have all the movies and we watch them together, but I never really got into Harry Potter much. Um, I like when they were all coming out in theaters, we were like way too poor to go see a movie in theaters, so I feel like I probably missed out on quite a bit of the hype around it. I can see why people like them though, because they are very cinematic movies, though.
No, totally. If I had to think of like a genre that is kind of played out or fatigued, or at least I'm feeling like it's fatigued across all media, it's the teenage academy, like trope. It's cute. Like, I do like it. There's lots of personalities and stuff that go with it. But for me, it's just sort of hit and miss. And I feel like every series is having like this sort of like, next generation teenagers in school,
Oh,
sort of like
Yeah,
spin off. And I'm just sort of like, it's too much. So that's just
yeah,
my.
I feel you.
hopefully the Greta Gerwig Narnia thing. It's not exactly the same, but hopefully that's good because
Yeah,
I really impressed with her as a director.
yeah, I
Um,
love Greta.
No,
uh,
totally. Oh, sorry.
oh,
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, is there any genre that you want to get into? Like, I don't know if do you like anime? Because I want to get back in the anime because my
Yeah, I agree. I want to get into anime. My boyfriend loves it, and
okay.
I just watched Berserk with him.
Ooh, cool.
And that was fucking awesome. I was like, I need more of this.
Okay,
And
so that's a
so yeah,
genre you're kind
anime.
of a noob to. You're
Oh
anime
yeah.
noob.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't read a lot of manga. Like I have a few, mostly like Warcraft mangas, or I have
Wow, you're
they
really into
do
Warcraft.
I do. They also do these things called manga classics, which are basically retellings of like classic literature in manga form. Like I have Dracula and Frankenstein and stuff. So I read stuff like that, but I definitely want to get into more anime. And I also recently watched a kung fu movie that came out this year called 100 Yards,
Ooh,
and
I
it was
want to see that.
awesome. It was
100
awesome.
yards.
Yeah, so I want to get into more kung fu and movies like that, because it's just the storytelling is it's just so good. And then it's mixed in with like these like crazy fights. Yeah, sign me up.
Cool.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you to the chat for all these awesome questions. We are gonna shoot through the next few. And Nerd Cosa Nostra asks, CBMs for the most part play it safe with their ratings. Do you think more mature R-rated films would perform better, assuming the story, cast, etc., are on point and not an issue?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I feel like comic book movies, they make sure to be PG-13 because they want like a that audience, they want that revenue. Um but yeah, no, I love the rated R stuff. Obviously Joker did really well at the R rating, and Deadpool does really well with the R rating. It just probably depends on the story. Like not every comic book movie like based on characters needs to be R rated, but it also doesn't need to be PG-13. Like Batman vs Superman is like one of my favorite comic book movies ever, and the Ultimate Edition is R-rated, and it's fucking awesome. But it, you know, it doesn't like necessarily make it better because it's R-rated. It's just they can do more with the story, in the action that they show. So yeah, certain characters definitely like Spawn. He needs to be rated R. Like there's no budging on that. That needs to be R-rated. But a character like, you know, Superman doesn't need to be R-rated, I don't think.
Definitely. And CJH asks, question, do you prefer indie films and indie games over mainstream games? And do you think the time for live service games is over? Sorry, Max.
Oh, indie films are great. Some of the best movies I've watched this year have been indie films. Pamela Anderson has a movie coming out next year called The Last Showgirl. That's an indie film.
Okay.
And
Haven't heard of
it
that.
is, oh yeah, dude, it is. I saw it at TIFF and I just rewatched it the other day, and her performance in that movie is just, there's nobody else for that part, I don't think.
That's great because she's like challenging herself later on in her
Mhm.
career. Not everyone does that. Sometimes they
Yeah.
rely on nostalgia, but
Yeah.
she's like going for it.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's a role that she's basically always wanted to play. Like, I don't know if you know a lot about her, but she started at her career out wanting to be an actress, but it just like wasn't in the cards for her. She wasn't given the
I didn't know that.
opportunity. Yeah, so she became she did do acting, but she always wanted to do like serious acting. And but yeah, no, I do like indie films, but I also do love me a good blockbuster like Furiosa this year, Dune this year, Gladiator 2 this year. So there's definitely, I feel like I do a good balance of watching and supporting. But indie games, dude, I just play World of Warcraft.
No, that has been like just over 20 years of like, you know, expansions and like, you know, community engagement. So it's definitely got like its built-in audience.
Are you there
I've been
from
playing
the
it.
start? Like when
Um,
did you start?
I was in 6th grade, so 2000,
Wow.
yeah, 2006. I've been playing like, well, it was a lot more serious like when I was in high school. I was
Yeah,
playing it
yeah.
like every day. Now I play it like maybe a few times a week just to log on and do stuff. But yeah, I've had my account since, well, I got my own account in like 2012, but other than that, um I shared an account with my brother from like 2006 until 2012. Then I got my own. So
Yeah. And yeah, wrapping up the show with one last question from CJH. Question, why do you think film Twitter hates movies like Deadpool and Wolverine and Spider-Man No Way Home a few months after people all agreed they liked it?
mm, uh, I don't know. I feel like a lot of it is people want to feel a part of the conversation. So let's say someone initially liked Deadpool and Wolverine or No Way Home. The conversation is always going to be positive for the most part when a movie just comes out because people are discussing it, they're talking about how much they liked it, and they want to feel in that conversation. And then, you know, you get removed by a few months and maybe you rewatched it, or maybe you thought about something in a different way, and you're actually like, you know what, actually no, I don't really like this movie. A lot of it is like recency bias, you know. People see a character like Deadpool and Wolverine and they instantly like the movie, and so there's like a ton of hype around it. And then I wasn't a really big fan of Deadpool and Wolverine.
What?
I liked it, but it's not like, yeah, I don't think it's like the best movie of the year. It was a lot of
Okay.
fun, but yeah, you know, film Twitter is it's its own beast, and sometimes I mean, there's tons of movies that come out and like film Twitter praises it, and I'm just like, it was fine, you know.
I,
But
I, te- I tend to think that they're potentially they may be looking for attention for if it's a very popular movie.
yeah,
Actually, it
yeah,
sucks. Or
yeah, yeah,
actually this movie's secretly brilliant. You know, that stuff trends like what is this person talking
exactly,
about?
yeah,
Potentially just to get attention. But based on that, I do have another question I'm going
yeah.
to squeeze in. Is there any movie cuz I love movies so much that I try really hard to like stuff. And if it doesn't sit right well, the first time, I go back and watch it again. Is there any movie that like, well, watch it a second or third time, you're like, oh, this is actually really good? Changed your mind on a movie. Like one of them was Wakanda Forever. I did not like it in the theater, and I got it home, and then on Disney Plus I really liked it. Doctor Strange 2 as well. I was like, no, this is kind of mid. And then I watched it again without I like watching the second movie a second time. Then all the expectations are gone. You just watch it for what it is. I think that's the best time to really get a movie, is watch it a second time at least.
Yeah.
Give it a fair shot.
I'd have to think, but there's nothing really at the top of my head.
I will admit something. Don't pull my Zack Snyder card, but I liked Batman v Superman in the theater when everyone I saw with it disliked it. My wife, my wife's friends. I still enjoyed it, but maybe because even they were not loving it, that impacted me. But then I watched it again, and I just kept loving it, and now it's one of my favorite movies of all time too.
I guess I could. I was just scrolling through my letterbox to see what I rewatched recently. But Doctor Sleep, I liked Doctor Sleep when I first saw it. But it's hard to remove yourself from the expectation of the shine of it's obvious it's a prequel to The Shining essentially. Sequel to The Shining, sorry. And it's watching it the second time, I picked up a lot more on
and that's Ewan McGregor, right?
Yep, it's Ewan McGregor, and
I saw it
it's a
once
Mike
and I liked
movie.
it, but I might like to watch that again too. Good suggestion.
Yeah, so I really liked it the second time I watched it. I think I even rated it a little bit higher than I did the first time, but yeah, that movie has the most fucked up kid death I've ever seen. It is so hard to watch. I don't know if you guys have
more
seen
than I heard the Terrifier series has some stuff.
I don't like the Terrifier movies, so I'm sorry. I've only seen the first one, and I was like, I'm good. But yeah, I did hear that the third one has something that's really fucking insane.
No, dude. I'm a big fan of the Terrifier.
I know why people are. It's too much for me.
I want to give it a shot, but all my friends, because I'm new to horror, they're like, you can't handle it, Max. You cannot handle it.
Yeah.
Even my wife, she's like, don't know. But I like Art the Clown looking at him, but I probably won't like him when I watch the movie.
Yeah.
No, he's pretty iconic. But yeah, I just wanted to thank Meg again for making time to sit with Max and I to, discuss a little bit about her amazing career and we get to learn a little bit more about her as a film critic and just, all of her hobbies and things like that. I think we just got one last minute question from Little Movie Prep.
Oh God, Challengers! You do have a poster too. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but this dude here.
Wait, let me
talking about Challengers.
Let me actually orate the question. Is Challengers the most live action anime not based on an IP since The Matrix?
Dang, that's crazy. I don't know. I mean, I don't watch a lot of anime, but it does kind of feel like it gives me that vibe. There's a lot of drama, and the tennis scenes are very action packed. Like the camera work. At one point, there's a scene in the movie. Oh yeah, like watching it in IMAX is insane because one of the tennis match scenes, the camera actually turns into the ball, so like they're hitting the ball and it's like you are moving with the ball. It's nuts.
Speaking of Challengers, I thought of a thing I was gonna probably, because you're inspiring people to get in the review process, so with all your in this interview, so thank you, Meg. And I'm gonna try myself to review more, but I was thinking of reviewing movies I don't want to watch, and I at the first on the list is Challengers.
It is good. It is good.
I don't just not interested. I like what's the actress? I like
Zendaya.
Zendaya. She's great. Yeah. I think she's very talented. It's just like I keep seeing the trailer, like her and two guys on a bed. I'm like, okay.
Dude, the score is by Trent Reznor and Atticus.
I love Trent Reznor.
Dude, the score for the movie is fucking it's awesome.
So
But
I might challenge myself with something like that and do movies I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
do something like that? Would you? Is
Me?
there any movie? Yeah, challenge yourself to do movies you're like not interested in reviewing.
Yeah, I mean, I basically the idea of my site is like I'm just crossing movies off of my watch list. And so I have hundreds of movies on my watch list of stuff that people are just like, "Oh, hey, you should check this out." And I'm like, "Okay, we'll see." But so yeah, basically, I mean, I guess it's kind of like what I do now is just I just review movies that are on my watch list, and if I like them, then it's whatever. But if I don't, I don't know. It's cool because it branches out, your tastes and you might find like you might love Challengers. That might be your favorite movie of the year.
I will tell you one. I kind of experimented last year. Barbie. I wasn't against it. I had no interest in seeing it, and I ended up loving it.
Yeah,
I love Barbie. I'm like, and I was a guy in there alone there was a lot of ladies in there to watch Barbie. My wife didn't even want to see it. She liked it when it came home. She enjoyed it a lot. I was like, okay, they want me to see Barbie.
Yeah.
I'll review Barbie. But I thought it was great.
Hell yeah.
I loved Barbie too. I did the Barbenheimer double feature, so very, very happy with that life decision.
Yeah, I did it in a weekend. I usually, if I see a movie in IMAX, I get like a horrible migraine after. So I watched Oppenheimer in 70 millimeter IMAX, and it was fucking amazing. Yeah. But the screen, it just gave me such a headache. And so then I did Barbie the next day. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I kind of had that same experience with Gladiator and Wicked, except they were just like a few days. Yeah, they were a few days removed. It wasn't as good as Barbenheimer, but it was still like fun.
Okay.
No, totally. Again, thank you, Meg, so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on board to have you met with Max and I. And yeah, just a general reminder for folks watching on X and YouTube, be sure to subscribe to Meg on YouTube at Wondermeg. And also be sure to follow Meg on X, x.com, Wondermeg_. Don't forget that underscore. Yes. And one final reminder, be sure to check out Meg's movie and review site, wonderwatchlist.com. And yeah, this has just been a really fun interview. I'm so glad I got to, catch the tail end of it. And yeah, Max, do you have anything to wrap up the show?
Oh, thanks, Meg. Please work on that podcast that you want to do now that you put it out there. I'm gonna be bugging you, or we'll get Rhea to get you back on. Yeah.
I can't even get myself back on, bro. Like,
no, I'm gonna definitely do that, because people seem to be very, very receptive to your personality and your journey. And you've inspired me to try harder with reviews. I'm not going to be a writer, because I'm not very good at writing, but I do want to challenge myself with video reviews. So yes, you inspired me to do that. And you got Rhea here. Appreciate it. So thanks, Rhea, for putting this together. Thank you, Meg. Follow her, and then hopefully we can meet up for Tape Hunters too.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be so fun.
No, thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, we'll catch you next time for another episode. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Take care.
Oh, were you gonna? Oh, you didn't end it.
Oh,
I ended it. I had fun.